In the vast expanse of the galaxy, the Exenary Empire reigned supreme, their warships cutting through the void like shadows. Each conquest was a brutal display of their technological might and merciless efficiency. Commander Thalax, a towering figure draped in obsidian armor, presided over the latest victory on the planet Velthera. As he surveyed the aftermath, flames licking at the ruins of a once vibrant city, he relished the sound of the conquered population's despair. To him, fear was a sign of loyalty. "Prepare the ships for the next sector," Thalax commanded, his voice deep and resonant, echoing through the steel confines of the command center. His officers, eager to please, rushed to follow orders. The Exenary thrived on dominance, and their warlords were revered for their cruelty. Far from the reach of the Exenary, on a secluded corner of Earth, a different story was unfolding. Deep beneath the surface, in an abandoned military facility, a group of rogue scientists was on the brink of a groundbreaking discovery. Led by the tenacious Dr. Elena Martinez, they had stumbled upon a relic of humanity's past. Thesol Invictus, a warship designed during a long-forgotten conflict. Its sleek hull was tarnished, its systems dormant, but its potential remained untapped. Elena's team worked tirelessly, their fingers flying over consoles and circuits. "If we can just restore the power core," she murmured, eyes wide with determination, "we might stand a chance against them." Her lead engineer, a brilliant but anxious man named Leo, was less optimistic. "It's been inactive for decades, Elena. We don't even know if the technology is still viable." The room buzzed with excitement and tension as the team debated the risks. They knew the Exenary's dominance could mean annihilation for Earth and other worlds. As the discussions grew heated, an alarm blared through the facility, jolting everyone into action. An intruder alert flashed red on their screens. The Exenary were closing in. "Elena, we have to evacuate," shouted one of the scientists, panic etched on his face. But Elena stood firm. "No, we can't let them take this ship. It's our only hope." With a fierce glint in her eyes, she rallied her team. "We've come too far to turn back now." As they scrambled to fortify their makeshift lab, the sound of approaching ships rumbled through the ground. The Exenary had located them. "We need to get the Sol Invictus online now," Elena ordered, her heart racing. The team frantically worked to bypass the ship's security protocols, each keystroke a gamble against time. Suddenly, the facility shook as Exenary troops landed, their armored boots clattering ominously against the metal floors. The team's breathing quickened. They had mere minutes before the Empire's forces would breach their defenses. With a final flourish, Leo slammed down on the activation sequence. The ship's engines roared to life, casting an eerie glow across the room. For a brief moment, hope flickered in their hearts. "Shields at full power," Elena commanded, and the walls of the Sol Invictus shimmered with protective energy. The Exenary stormed in, weapons drawn, but they were met with a blinding flash. "Prepare for launch," Elena shouted. The crew scrambled aboard the ship, adrenaline coursing through their veins as the hatch sealed shut behind them. Thalax's voice crackled over the comms as he surveyed the situation from above. "You think you can escape? You will be hunted down like the vermin you are." His confidence dripped with arrogance, but Elena's resolve only deepened. The Sol Invictus was more than just a ship. It was humanity's defiance, a beacon of resistance against the tide of tyranny. As the ship lurched forward, breaking free from the confines of the facility, Elena glanced at her crew. A mix of fear and exhilaration mirrored in their eyes. "This is just the beginning," she said, her voice steady. "We'll show the galaxy what humanity can do." With that, they soared into the cosmos, leaving behind the shadows of their past and charging toward an uncertain future, one where they would no longer be mere subjects of the Exenary Empire. The Sol Invictus surged into the star-studded void, its powerful engines propelling it faster than any human ship had traveled in decades. As Elena took the helm, Her heart raced with a mix of excitement and trepidation. She glanced at her crew, each member wide-eyed, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of the control panels. They were not just scientists now. They were the vanguard of humanity's rebellion. "Status report," she commanded, her voice cutting through the tension. Leo, seated at the engineering console, rapidly checked the ship's systems. "All primary systems are functional, but we're not fully operational yet. We need time to calibrate the weapons and shields." "Time we don't have," Elena replied, eyes narrowing as she peered out the cockpit window. The distant shimmer of Cenari warships glinted like predatory eyes in the darkness. "They'll be on us in minutes. We need to move." Just as Leo began working furiously at his station, an alarm blared, echoing ominously in the cramped cockpit. "Incoming transmission." A crew member called, relaying Thalax's voice. "You are in violation of Imperial territory. Surrender immediately, and I will grant you a swift death." Elena clenched her fists. "We won't surrender. Let's show them what this ship can do." She engaged the thrusters, maneuvering the Sol Invictus into a tight turn, dodging a volley of laser fire that erupted from a pursuing Cenari cruiser. As the crew rallied, adrenaline surged through them. "Weapons ready," Leo shouted, his hands flying over the controls. "We have missile pods online, but we need to be precise. Target their engines," Elena commanded, her heart pounding in her chest. "We can't let them chase us down." With the crew working in sync, the Sol Invictus unleashed its first barrage of missiles, streaking through the dark void and striking the Cenari cruiser with pinpoint accuracy. Explosions lit up the darkness, and the ship shook from the impact. The crew erupted into cheers, their fear momentarily forgotten. But the jubilation was short-lived as Thalax barked orders to regroup his fleet. "Prepare for boarding," he growled, the determination in his voice palpable. As the Sol Invictus continued its evasive maneuvers, Elena fought to maintain control. "We need to create some distance," she urged, her brow furrowed in concentration. The crew scrambled to adjust shields and redirect power to the engines, each second feeling like an eternity. "Captain, there's a nearby asteroid field," one crew member suggested, pointing to the navigational map. "We could use it to our advantage." Elena weighed her options. "Do it. Set course for the field." She could almost feel the presence of Thalax looming behind them, his ships hot on their trail. The idea of facing him in a head-on confrontation sent chills down her spine. As they plunged into the chaotic beauty of the asteroid field, the ship jerked violently. "Hold on," she shouted, guiding the Sol Invictus through the treacherous maze of rock and debris. Asteroids careened past them, some colliding with the pursuers, creating a cacophony of explosions and disarray. Elena's heart raced as she navigated through the chaos, a newfound sense of purpose igniting within her. "This is it," she thought, realizing they were no longer just fleeing. They were fighting back. Emerging from the field, they saw the Cenari fleet struggling to regroup. Thalax's voice crackled over the comms again, laced with anger. "You may have escaped this time, but the hunt has only begun." Elena smirked, adrenaline still coursing through her veins. "Let them come," she whispered, determination etching itself into her heart. They had awoken something powerful within themselves and the galaxy, a spark of defiance that would not be easily extinguished. The Sol Invictus drifted in the shadows of a remote moon, the hum of its engines a soft reminder of their recent escape. Inside the ship, the atmosphere buzzed with energy and anticipation. Crew members moved quickly, testing systems and preparing for their next mission. Elena stood at the command console, reviewing the data gathered during their flight. "Captain, our sensors picked up a distress signal from the planet Morthek," Leo announced, his voice tinged with urgency. "It's an agricultural world currently under attack by the Cenari. They're targeting civilian facilities." Alina's heart raced. This was their chance to make a statement. Prepare a strike mission. We need to show the galaxy that humanity will not cower in fear, she declared, her determination palpable. And we need to help those people. The crew sprang into action, readying the ship's weapons and recalibrating the navigation systems. As they prepared for takeoff, Alina gathered her thoughts, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on her shoulders. This mission wasn't just about saving lives. It was about igniting a flame of hope across the galaxy. Engaging engines, Leo announced, a spark of excitement in his eyes. The Sol Invictus roared to life, its sleek frame cutting through the void as they set course for Morthek. Alina couldn't help but steal glances at her crew. They were no longer just scientists. They had become warriors united by a common cause. As they approached the planet, the sight that greeted them was devastating. Morthek's lush fields lay scorched, and plumes of smoke rose from the ruins of what were once thriving towns. The presence of Xenari warships loomed overhead, their dark silhouettes casting long shadows over the ground. Prepare to launch the fighters, Alina commanded, her voice steady despite the chaos around them. We'll need aerial support to distract them while we take out their ground forces. Fighter wings ready. A crew member confirmed, and the ship's hangar doors opened to reveal sleek craft ready for battle. With a deep breath, Alina issued the launch order. The fighters shot out of the Sol Invictus weaving through the wreckage and engaging the Xenari ships in a dazzling display of maneuverability. The thrill of combat surged through her, pushing her instincts into overdrive. She could almost feel the energy of the crew, their courage fueling her resolve. Let's take out their command center, Alina shouted, her focus unwavering. The main weapon systems of the Sol Invictus came online, and she targeted the Xenari ground base, where troops were coordinating the attack. The tension in the cockpit intensified as Leo counted down. 3, 2, 1. Fire. The ship trembled as the weaponry unleashed a torrent of energy beams, striking the command center with explosive precision. The resulting blast sent debris scattering, and cheers erupted from the crew. Direct hit, Leo yelled, exhilaration lighting up his face. They're disorganized. We can push forward. Encouraged by the momentum, Alina guided the Sol Invictus into a dive, skimming low over the battlefield. From the cockpit, she witnessed the chaos of war. Xenari troops scrambling, civilians fleeing, and the fighters engaging in a fierce aerial dogfight. Hold the line, she ordered, pushing the ship into a sharp turn to avoid enemy fire. Just then, an incoming transmission from a Morthakian commander crackled through the comms. We're losing ground. We need more support. Tell them to hold on, Alina replied, her heart pounding. Reinforcements are on the way. With renewed vigor, the crew intensified their efforts, coordinating strikes against the Xenari forces. As the battle raged on, Alina felt a sense of unity not just among her crew, but with the people of Morthek. They were fighting together, against a common enemy. Let's finish this, Alina cried, pushing the Sol Invictus into the heart of the battle, ready to lead the charge and prove that humanity would rise to meet the challenge of the cosmos. The Sol Invictus emerged from the chaos of the asteroid field, its hull scorched but operational. Alina felt a mix of relief and urgency as the crew worked to assess damage and regroup. The ship's sensors beeped ominously, indicating that the Xenari were still in pursuit. Captain, we've got multiple Xenari ships on our tail, Leo shouted, his fingers racing over the controls. They're closing in fast. Alina's heart raced as she glanced at the tactical display, which showed the enemy fleet forming up behind them. How many? She demanded. 5 cruisers and several smaller frigates. Leo replied, his voice edged with tension. We need to make a break for it, or they'll catch us. Not yet, Alina said, a spark of defiance igniting within her. We've just dealt a blow to their supply lines. If we run, they'll regroup and retaliate with greater force. We need to hold our ground and strike back." The crew exchanged wary glances, but Elena's determination seemed to galvanize them. "Prepare the ship for combat," she commanded. "We're not backing down." As the crew moved into action, Elena felt the weight of leadership pressing upon her. The Sol Invictus was more than a ship. It was a symbol of humanity's resilience, and she wouldn't let it fall into the hands of their oppressors. "Leo, can we use the ship's cloaking device?" she asked, remembering their last desperate escape. "I'll try to initiate it, but it'll only buy us a few moments," he replied, focusing intently on the controls. "We need to make those moments count." With a flicker, the Sol Invictus vanished from sight, blending into the darkness of space. The crew held their breath, waiting for the Ixanari to pass. For a moment, it seemed like they might succeed, but the enemy fleet was cunning, and Thalax's ships began to slow down, searching the void for their quarry. "There they are," Leo shouted, pointing at the tactical display. "They're splitting up, trying to flank us." Elena's mind raced. "We need to draw them in and hit them where it hurts. Prepare for a surprise attack once they're close enough." As the Ixanari cruisers moved into position, Elena could feel the tension mounting. Her heart pounded in her chest, the weight of the moment palpable. She knew that this was a gamble, but it was one they had to take. "On my mark, activate the cloaking device and divert power to the main weapons," she instructed. "We'll hit them hard when they're least expecting it." With a final surge of adrenaline, she steadied herself. 3, 2, 1, now. The Sol Invictus reappeared, weapons charged and ready. Elena's voice rang out with authority. "Fire!" Energy beams erupted from the ship, striking the nearest cruiser with pinpoint accuracy. The impact sent shockwaves through the enemy formation, and chaos erupted as the Ixanari scrambled to respond. "Target their command ship next," she shouted, adrenaline surging through her. "We need to take out their leadership to disrupt their coordination." The crew followed her orders, the ship shaking as they unleashed another volley of fire. The command ship reeled under the assault, smoke billowing from its hull as it struggled to maintain its position. "Captain, they're returning fire," Leo shouted, the ship rocking violently as lasers rained down on them. "Shields are holding, but we can't take much more of this." "Evasive maneuvers," Elena barked, gripping the controls tightly. The Sol Invictus swerved to dodge the incoming fire, her crew working in perfect harmony. Just then, a transmission crackled over the comms. Thalax's voice dripped with contempt. "You think you can challenge me with a single ship? I will enjoy dismantling you piece by piece." Elena's jaw clenched. "Not today, Thalax. We fight for our freedom." With renewed determination, she directed the Sol Invictus into the heart of the battle, ready to prove that humanity would rise against the might of the Ixanari Empire. They had taken the fight to their enemies, and now they would unleash everything they had. The Sol Invictus emerged from the asteroid field, its hull battered but intact. Behind them, the remnants of the Ixanari fleet struggled to regroup, their ships crippled and disorganized. Elena exhaled a breath she didn't realize she had been holding, her heart still racing from the adrenaline of battle. "Status report," she called, turning to her crew. "Shields are down to 50%, but all systems are operational," Leo replied, wiping sweat from his brow. "We inflicted significant damage on their forces. They won't be following us anytime soon." A cheer erupted from the crew, but Elena quickly raised a hand to quiet them. "We can't let our guard down. Thalax is a ruthless strategist. He'll regroup and retaliate. We need to prepare for our next move." As they set course for a nearby uninhabited moon, the crew worked diligently to patch up the ship. Each task was infused with a new sense of purpose. They were no longer just scientists or engineers. They were warriors fighting for their freedom. Captain, I've been monitoring communications from various planets in the sector, one of the crew members reported. Word of our victory is spreading. Resistance groups are forming, inspired by our actions on Morthek. Alina's heart swelled with pride. This is exactly what we wanted. We need to harness this momentum. Let's reach out to these groups and offer our assistance. We can coordinate a larger effort against the Xenari. Already on it, Leo said, his fingers dancing over the console. I'll start broadcasting a message to any receptive frequencies. We need to make sure they know who we are and what we can do. As Leo sent out the transmission, Alina stood before the viewing screen, a mix of hope and apprehension swirling within her. They had awoken something powerful, and the fight was just beginning. After a few tense moments, a flickering image appeared on the screen, an anxious-looking figure clad in makeshift armor. "This is Commander Thera of the Outer Rim Coalition," she said, her voice trembling slightly. "We've been monitoring your actions. You took down a Xenari cruiser." "More than that," Alina replied, her voice steady. "We're here to help. The Xenari have oppressed your people for too long. Together, we can stand against them." Thera's eyes widened with hope. "We've faced heavy losses, but if you can provide support, we can mount a coordinated attack. The Xenari have a supply base on the planet Xenax. If we can disrupt their supply lines, we might weaken them enough to make a stand." Alina nodded, determination coursing through her. "We'll assist with the attack. Let's rally as many fighters as we can. We'll strike at dawn." As the Sol Invictus sped toward Xenax, the crew began preparations. They transformed the ship into a mobile command center, strategizing every detail of the mission. Fighters were readied, and communication lines buzzed with energy as more resistance groups joined their cause. Night fell over Xenax, and Alina stood on the bridge, looking out at the flickering lights of the planet below. The weight of the coming battle pressed heavily on her, but so did the thrill of hope. For the first time, she felt a sense of unity, not just within her crew, but across the galaxy. "Ready for battle?" Leo asked, stepping up beside her. "More than ready," she replied, a fierce smile breaking through her resolve. "Tonight, we fight not just for ourselves, but for everyone who has suffered under the Xenari." As dawn broke over Xenax, the combined forces of the Outer Rim Coalition and the Sol Invictus launched into the fray. Fighters zoomed into the sky, carrying the hopes of a galaxy that had been subdued for too long. With each passing moment, Alina felt the tide shifting. Humanity was rising, ready to reclaim its place among the stars. The dawn light glimmered off the surface of Xenax as the combined forces of the Sol Invictus and the Outer Rim Coalition prepared for battle. Alina stood on the bridge, heart pounding with anticipation. Tactical displays flickered with information, highlighting the positions of the Xenari supply base and the incoming resistance fighters. "Everything's set, Captain," Leo reported, his fingers dancing across the controls. "The fighters are fueled and ready for launch. We just need the signal to go." Alina nodded, surveying her crew, faces resolute, determination burning in their eyes. "We strike hard and fast. We can't give them a chance to regroup or counterattack." "Commencing countdown," a crew member announced, and Alina felt a thrill rush through her. This was it. The moment they had prepared for was finally upon them. 3, 2, 1, launch. The hangar doors opened, and the fighters shot into the sky, leaving the Sol Invictus behind as it moved into position. Alina's heart raced as she felt the energy of the moment. As the fighters engaged, she could see flashes of light from the planet's surface, explosions marking the beginnings of chaos. "Stay close to the supply base," she instructed, watching as the battle unfolded on the tactical display. "Our main goal is to disable their supply lines and cut off their resources." Leo monitored the feeds. "We have incoming from the east. A squadron of Xenari ships is approaching. Reinforce our shields. Prepare for evasive maneuvers, Elena commanded, gripping the controls tightly. The Sol Invictus swerved, barely dodging a barrage of laser fire from the advancing scenario. The ship rocked as they took a glancing hit, warning lights flashing ominously. Shields at 60%. Leo shouted, "We can't take another hit like that. We need to buy our fighters time." Elena gritted her teeth, searching for a way to turn the tide. Engage the primary weapons. Target their lid ship. As she pulled the trigger, the ship shuddered violently, energy beams arcing toward the nearest scenario cruiser. The impact was satisfying, sending debris flying and breaking their formation. Cheers erupted from the crew as they watched the ship spiral out of control, but Thalax was not one to be easily thwarted. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission from Thalax," Leo warned, his expression grim. "Put it through," Elena ordered, bracing herself for the confrontation. Thalax's face appeared on the screen, his expression a mask of fury and disdain. "You think you can challenge the might of the Exenari with a handful of misfit ships? You are but a fleeting annoyance, and I will crush you." "We're not going down without a fight, Thalax," Elena shot back, her voice firm. "We fight for freedom. And today we will show you the strength of the united resistance." With a sneer, Thalax retorted, "Then let the games begin." As the transmission ended, Elena refocused on the battle. The Sol Invictus was surrounded by a flurry of enemy ships. "We need to find a way to turn this around. We have to reach their supply depot before it's too late." Diverting power to engines and shields, Leo replied, urgency lacing his voice. "We can push through." "Let's create a distraction," Elena suggested, formulating a plan. "We'll charge the depot and draw their fire while the fighters engage the remaining cruisers." "Ready on your mark," Leo said, determination gleaming in his eyes. "Now, full speed ahead," Elena shouted, her voice ringing with resolve. The Sol Invictus surged forward, energy crackling around them as they broke through enemy lines. Fighters followed closely, engaging in fierce dogfights overhead. As they neared the supply depot, a barrage of enemy fire rained down, but Elena held her course, weaving skillfully between explosions. "Deploy countermeasures," Leo shouted, unleashing flares that drew enemy fire away from the ship. With a roar, the Sol Invictus targeted the supply depot, the ship's cannons charging for a decisive blow. "Fire," Elena commanded, heart racing as she pulled the trigger. The impact was deafening, and the supply depot erupted into a massive fireball, sending shockwaves through the surrounding area. Cheers filled the cockpit as they watched the chaos unfold, a beacon of hope shining through the smoke. But amid the celebration, Thalax's voice crackled through the comms again, laced with fury. "You may have won this battle, but the war is far from over. You will regret this day." Elena clenched her fists, staring into the chaos that had become their battlefield. They had struck a blow against the Exenari, but the fight was far from finished. As the battle raged on, she felt a surge of hope alongside the weight of their daunting future. This was only the beginning of a larger struggle for freedom. The remnants of the supply depot smoldered behind them as the Sol Invictus maneuvered through the chaos of the battlefield. Elena felt a rush of adrenaline mixed with urgency. The victory against the Exenari felt sweet, but Thalax's ominous warning echoed in her mind. They couldn't afford to let their guard down. "Status report," she called out, scanning the faces of her crew. They were energized but weary from the fight. "We took out their primary supply lines, but they're regrouping fast," Leo replied, eyes glued to the tactical display. "Their cruisers are falling back, but are still operational. They'll come after us, and we need a plan." Elena nodded, deep in thought. "We need to consolidate our forces, reach out to any remaining resistance groups, and prepare for a tactical retreat. If we can regroup and reinforce, we can turn this into a more significant campaign." The crew sprang into action, relaying messages to the fighters still engaging in skirmishes overhead. As the comms buzzed with updates, Alina felt a flicker of hope. Their victory had sparked a fire, and resistance forces across the sector were rallying. "Captain, we have incoming transmissions from the Coalition," Leo announced. "They want to coordinate for an immediate counterstrike against Thalax's remaining forces." Alina's brow furrowed. "Can they provide air support?" "They have a squadron ready and are asking for our lead," Leo replied, excitement building in his voice. "If we can act quickly, we can catch the Exenari while they're vulnerable." "Let's do it," Alina said, determination sharpening her resolve. "Prepare for a coordinated strike. We need to hit them before they can regroup." The Sol Invictus took a position at the forefront, the fighters streaming behind them. As they gathered their strength, Alina could feel the energy in the cockpit shift, the crew focused and resolute. This was no longer just a defense. It was an offense, an opportunity to reclaim their future. "On my mark," she called, eyes scanning the battlefield for any signs of Thalax's ships. 3, 2, 1, engage. With a surge, they shot forward, the ship's engines roaring to life as they plunged into the fray. The combined forces of the Sol Invictus and the Coalition surged into battle, their fighters weaving through enemy lines, lasers flashing in every direction. "Target the lead cruiser," Alina commanded, locking onto the flagship of the Exenari fleet. It loomed ominously, its weapon systems recharging for another barrage. "We need to take it down to destabilize their command." Leo maneuvered the ship, guiding the Sol Invictus toward the cruiser as enemy fire rained down. "Shield holding at 50%. He shouted, his voice laced with tension. "Keep us steady." Alina gritted her teeth, her hands gripping the controls tightly. They dove into the fray, dodging incoming blasts while returning fire with precision. The cruiser took hits, and Alina could see the crew on board falter as confusion set in. "Now," she shouted, the moment of opportunity arriving. "All weapons, fire." The ship shuddered as they unleashed a barrage of energy blasts, striking the cruiser's engines directly. The impact sent shockwaves through the battlefield, and the cruiser began to drift, flames licking at its hull. "Direct hit. They're losing control," Leo exclaimed, a glimmer of excitement in his eyes. "Push forward. Let's finish this," Alina urged, guiding the Sol Invictus through the chaos, rallying the fighters to follow her lead. As they surged past the stricken cruiser, Thalax's voice rang out over the comms, filled with venomous rage. "You may think you've won, but you are merely delaying the inevitable. I will hunt you down, and when I do, you will pay dearly." "Not if we stop you first," Alina shouted back, determination hardening her resolve. She knew this was just one battle in a larger war, but every victory built their strength. The tide of battle began to shift as the remaining Exenari forces faltered. The fighters dove in for the kill, their momentum fueled by the unity forged in the heat of conflict. Alina could feel the energy of her crew. This was not just a fight. It was a movement, and they were at its helm. As the last cruiser fell, the cheers from her crew erupted, filling the cockpit with a chorus of triumph. Alina allowed herself a moment of relief. They had struck a decisive blow, but in the back of her mind, she knew that Thalax would not back down easily. "We'll need to fortify our position and plan our next move," she said, her voice steady. "This is just the beginning of our fight for freedom." With their spirits high, they began plotting the next steps in their mission, an unyielding determination to reclaim their place in the cosmos and rally others to their cause. The cheers aboard the Sol Invictus echoed through the ship, but Alina's heart remained heavy with the knowledge of the battles yet to come. They had dealt a significant blow to the Exenari, but Thalax was still out there, vowing revenge. "Captain," Leo said, pulling her from her thoughts, "we've received messages from several resistance groups across the sector. They're eager to join forces and plan a larger offensive against the Exenari. Alina smiled, a wave of hope washing over her. That's what we need. We have to build a coalition that can stand up to Thalax and the Empire. Let's gather everyone for a strategy meeting. The crew moved quickly, relaying the message to the other ships and preparing the bridge for their allies. Within moments, holographic projections flickered to life, displaying the faces of commanders from various resistance groups. Each face reflected a mix of determination and desperation, a unified will to reclaim their worlds. "Welcome, everyone," Alina began, her voice steady. "Today, we've proven that we can defeat the Exenari. But we need to plan our next steps carefully. Thalax will not take this defeat lightly. He'll be hunting for us, and we must be ready." Commander Thera from the Outer Rim Coalition spoke first. "We have intelligence on the Exenari's next supply route. If we can intercept them, we can further weaken Thalax's forces. This could be a critical strike." Alina nodded, studying the tactical maps displayed before them. "We'll need to coordinate our forces. If we strike their supply convoy, we can disrupt their operations across the sector. But we'll need a solid plan to avoid running into a trap." Another commander, a grizzled veteran with a weathered face, chimed in. "We've learned that Thalax often uses decoys to mislead his enemies. We must split our forces and create diversions to draw him away from the real attack." "Agreed," Alina said, feeling the weight of leadership settle on her shoulders. "We'll need to divide into two groups, one to engage Thalax's main forces, drawing their attention, while the other takes out the supply convoy. It's risky, but if we pull it off, it could shift the balance of power." As they discussed logistics and contingencies, Alina felt the camaraderie and resolve building among the group. Each commander brought their own experiences and ideas, and together they forged a plan that felt robust and dynamic. "Let's finalize our attack timing," Leo interjected. "We'll need to synchronize our movements to avoid confusion. If we can strike simultaneously, we'll maximize our impact." After hours of strategizing, they established a timeline and began preparing their ships for the mission. Alina felt a sense of unity wash over her. This was no longer just a fight for survival. It was a fight for freedom and a new future. As they wrapped up the meeting, Alina looked at her comrades. "Whatever happens, we're fighting not just for ourselves, but for every planet that has suffered under the Exenari Empire. We are a united front, and together, we will reclaim our homes." The commanders nodded, their resolve evident in their expressions. They had forged a new alliance, a coalition of those who had suffered and who now stood ready to fight back. As the Sol Invictus and its allied ships set off toward their targets, Alina felt a surge of hope and determination. They were no longer alone. They had allies, a burgeoning resistance, and a plan. As the stars twinkled in the vast expanse of space, she looked out at the endless void, feeling the weight of possibility. This was just the beginning. They were on the brink of something monumental. With renewed purpose, Alina steered the Sol Invictus into the heart of the cosmos, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. They were humanity's champions, and together, they would light the way for a galaxy yearning for freedom.